You can't just walk back in here and expect everything to be the same.
I know, but I had to see you.
The door creaked open like a thunderclap in the quiet afternoon haze of their suburban home in upstate New York. And there stood Alex, towel slipping from his waist, steam still curling from his skin after the longest shower of his life. His stepson, Jamie, froze in the threshold, backpack slung over one shoulder, eyes widening not in shock but in something deeper, a flicker of recognition that hit like a freight train. In that suspended heartbeat, the air thickened with the weight of unspoken truths, the kind that could shatter a fragile family or forge it anew. Alex's heart hammered against his ribs, the terry cloth pooling at his feet as he instinctively reached for the sheet on the bed. But his hand faltered midway. Jamie was 22 now, no longer the gangly teen who'd slammed doors in rebellion after his mother's death 2 years back, but a man carved from quiet resilience, with shoulders broadened by late-night study sessions and part-time gigs sketching logos for local bands. Alex, at 45, felt every line etched into his face from long days on construction sites. The calluses on his palms a testament to the life he'd built from scraps after his own divorce a decade ago. Marrying Elena had been his anchor, a second chance at family. But her cancer had unraveled it all, leaving him adrift with a stepson who looked at him now not as a placeholder dad, but as something perilously close to a stranger, or worse, a mirror. Sorry, Jamie stammered, his voice cracking like dry autumn leaves. But he didn't back away. Instead, his gaze lingered on the droplets, tracing paths down Alex's chest, over the faint scars from a youthful bar fight he'd never shared, mapping territory both forbidden and familiar. The room smelled of soap and sawdust, a blend of Alex's world, and Jamie's throat tightened with the urge to step closer, to bridge the chasm that had widened since the funeral. Alex swallowed hard, clutching the sheet to his hips, his voice rougher than he intended. It's fine, kid. Door was unlocked, my fault, but it wasn't fine. Not the way Jamie's cheeks flushed under that mop of chestnut hair, nor the electric hum that buzzed between them, louder than the distant hum of lawnmowers in the neighborhood. Alex turned slightly, pretending to rummage for boxers in the dresser. But his mind raced. How many times had he caught himself watching Jamie laugh at old movies? The curve of his neck when he stretched after a run, dismissing it as paternal pride? Now, exposed like this, the lie crumbled. Jamie dropped his backpack with a thud, the zipper spilling notebooks onto the hardwood floor, sketches of abstract hearts intertwined with circuit boards. His latest project for a queer art collective at college. I didn't mean to. I just got back from class early. Thought you were at the site. His words tumbled out, laced with an apology that masked something sharper. A hunger Alex recognized because he'd buried his own years ago, back when he first realized the men in his crew showers stirred more than envy. The silence stretched, taut as a guy wire on a half-built scaffold. Alex finally pulled on his jeans, the denim whispering against his skin, and faced Jamie fully, shirtless and unarmored. "Talk to me," he said, softer now, the words carrying the gravel of a man who'd lost too much to tiptoe anymore. Jamie's eyes, those hazel pools flecked with gold, met his without flinching. "Dad, Alex, it's not just the door. It's everything." Since Mom, he trailed off, rubbing his neck, The gesture boyish, yet edged with the maturity of someone who'd grieved alone in dorm rooms while Alex drowned in overtime shifts. Alex stepped forward, the floor cool under his bare feet, close enough to catch the faint scent of Jamie's citrus cologne mixed with rain from his walk home. I know. Me too. Feels like we're ghosts haunting each other. The admission hung there, vulnerable and raw, and Jamie's hand twitched as if to reach out, stopping inches from Alex's arm. In that gap, the world narrowed to the rise and fall of their breaths, sinking unconsciously, a rhythm that echoed the pulse of something awakening. They talked then, for the first time in months, not about bills or groceries, but about the voids Elena left, the way her laughter used to fill the kitchen. How Alex's rough hugs had been her favorite. How Jamie had found her wedding ring in a drawer and wept until dawn. As the sun dipped low, casting golden bars across the rumpled bed, Jamie confessed his sketches weren't just art, they were confessions. Drawings of men entwined in ways that mirrored the ache in his chest when Alex walked in from work. Sweat damp and solid. Alex listened, his own secrets uncoiling like rebar from concrete. The bar in Albany where he'd nursed a beer after her diagnosis. Watching a stranger's hands and wondering what it would feel like to be touched without pity. By dusk, they were on the back porch, beers in hand, Jamie's first legal sip under Alex's watchful eye, watching fireflies wink in the overgrown yard. I walked in because I needed to see you, Jamie admitted, voice barely above the crickets. Not like that. Or maybe. Yeah, like that. Alex set his bottle down, the glass clinking like a vow, and cupped Jamie's jaw, thumb brushing stubble that matched his own. The touch was tentative, a question, and Jamie leaned in, their lips meeting in a kiss that tasted of salt and surrender, fierce yet tender, rewriting the rules of their bond in one breathless moment. But redefinition came with thorns. The next morning, over burnt toast and black coffee, reality crashed in like a demo crew. What now? Alex asked, his fork scraping the plate, eyes shadowed by the implications. Jamie, in his rumpled sleep shirt, traced patterns on the tablecloth. We can't pretend. But society. Family friends. They'll call it wrong. Alex nodded. The weight of small town whispers heavy on his shoulders. Memories of his ex-wife's judgmental glares flashing like warning lights. They decided to keep it quiet at first. A fragile truce. Alex threw himself into work, framing walls for a new development on the Hudson. Each hammer strike a defiance against doubt. Jamie buried in finals. His designs bolder now, infused with the curve of Alex's smile. Stolen moments piled up, a hand on the small of Jamie's back as they cooked pasta. Fingers interlacing under the dinner table. Nights where bodies pressed close in the dark, exploring with whispers and gasps that healed old wounds. Yet tension simmered. At a neighborhood barbecue, Old Man Hargrove clapped Alex on the back, joking about finding a nice widow yet, his eyes sliding to Jamie with unwitting irony. Alex forced a laugh, but Jamie's grip on his beer whitened, jealousy flaring not at the words, but at the erasure of what they'd built. Later, in the truck driving home, Jamie exploded. They see us as father and son, not us. How long before it breaks? Alex pulled over on a deserted stretch by the river, the engine ticking cool. It won't. Not if we fight for it. He pulled Jamie across the console, their kiss urgent, hands roaming with the desperation of men defying gravity. Under the stars, they made love in the cab, the windows fogging with their heat, a declaration against the world's narrow gaze. Weeks blurred into a heated summer, their secret blooming like wild roses along the fence line. Alex taught Jamie to wield a level, steady hands guiding steady hands, while Jamie dragged him to indie film screenings in the city, where queer stories flickered on screen and Alex's arm stayed firm around his waist in the shadows. Laughter returned, tentative at first, then full-throated, echoing through the house like Elena's ghost smiling approval. But drama coiled tighter when Jamie's estranged uncle, Victor, Elena's bitter brother, announced a visit from California. Victor, with his Bible-thumping rhetoric and history of cutting ties over lifestyle choices, arrived like a storm cloud, suitcase thumping on the stoop. Family's about blood and values, he declared over pot roast, eyes narrowing at Jamie's earring, Alex's unbuttoned collar. Jamie bristled, fork clattering, while Alex played peacemaker, muscles taut under his flannel. That night, as Victor snored in the guest room, Jamie cornered Alex in the garage, amid half-finished birdhouses. He's poison. Always has been, called Mom a failure for marrying you. A divorced sinner. Tears streaked Jamie's face, and Alex pulled him close, their embrace fierce, lips crashing in a bid to drown out the fear. We'll weather him, Alex murmured against Jamie's neck. But doubt gnawed. What if Victor saw too much in their lingering glances? The way Jamie's hand sought Alex's thigh under the table? The confrontation brewed over breakfast, Victor waving a faded photo of Elena. She'd roll in her grave seeing this. Dysfunction. Jamie shot up, chair scraping. You don't know her, or us. Alex intervened. Voice steel, enough. Jamie's her legacy, and I'm proud to stand with him, however that looks. Victor's face purpled, accusations flying about unnatural bonds, forcing confessions that spilled like blood from a fresh cut. In the fallout, Victor stormed out, tires screeching down the drive, but not before vowing to expose them to Elena's distant relatives. The house fell silent, save for Jamie's sobs on the couch, Alex enveloping him in arms that trembled. He can't touch what we have, Alex vowed, but the threat lingered, a shadow over their idol. They fled to the Catskills for a weekend, renting a cabin by a whispering stream, seeking solace in nature's indifference. There, amid hikes through fern-choked trails, they bared souls deeper than bodies. Jamie confessed his first crush on a high school teammate. The isolation that followed, Alex shared his awakening in the Army, a bunkmate's touch that ended in regret and repression. By firelight, wrapped in a shared blanket, they vowed authenticity, no more hiding, no more half-lives. Back home, resolve hardened. Jamie's art show loomed, his thesis exhibit on queer identity in American families, and Alex promised to attend. Front row, unapologetic. The gallery in Albany buzzed with patrons. Jamie's pieces alive with color, abstracts of merged silhouettes. One broad and weathered, the other lithe and dreaming. As applause swelled, Alex stood, pulling Jamie into a public kiss, cameras flashing like distant lightning. Scandal rippled, texts from neighbors, Victor's venomous emails, but support surged too, college friends rallying, Alex's crew toasting to real family. In the quiet aftermath, as leaves turned crimson, they adopted a rescue dog, a scruffy mutt named Chance, symbol of their gamble. Months later, on a crisp Thanksgiving Eve, snow dusting the eaves, Alex knelt by the turkey, ring box in pocket. Jamie entered, flour dusted from pie making, eyes widening at the velvet gleam. "Marry me," Alex said, voice thick. "Not as step anything. As equals. Rewriting our forever." Tears fell as Jamie nodded, their embrace sealing a love that had walked through fire. Family, redefined not by blood, but by choice, courage, and the unbreakable thread of two hearts aligned. Jamie woke to the scent of pine and frost-kissed earth filtering through the cabin's cracked window. Alex's arm heavy across his waist, an anchor in the dawn's pale light. Their getaway had stretched into a third day, Victor's tirade fading like a bad dream. But the raw edges of exposure lingered in Jamie's chest, a bruise that throbbed with every breath. He traced the veins on Alex's forearm, thick from years of hauling lumber, wondering how a man so solid could feel as fragile as he did in these stolen hours. Alex stirred, mumbling into Jamie's neck, his stubble rasping like sandpaper on silk. "Morning already? Thought we'd hibernate till spring." His voice was sleep-rough, laced with that humor that always pulled Jamie back from the brink. They made love slowly then, bodies sinking in the rumpled sheets. No rush, just the deliberate worship of skin and sighs, as if mapping each other could ward off the world's judgments. Afterward, tangled and sated, Jamie propped on an elbow, studying Alex's face, the crow's feet from squinting at blueprints, the scar above his brow from a rogue nail gun. What if he follows through? Uncle Vic's got Mom's old friends on speed dial. They'll paint us as perverts preying on grief. Alex's hand cupped Jamie's cheek, thumb sweeping away an errant tear. "Let him talk. I've built empires from whispers. Remember the bridge project? Crew said it couldn't hold. I proved him wrong." But beneath the bravado, fear flickered in his eyes, the terror of losing the one light in his shadowed life. They dressed in layers against the chill, Alex in his wool jacket and steel-toed boots, Jamie in thermals under his artist scarf, and ventured out, boots crunching on leaf litter toward the stream where trout darted like silver secrets. The water babbled over moss-slick rocks, a soundtrack to their confessions. Jamie skipped stones, each plunk a punctuation to his story, the closeted hookups in college bathrooms, the shame that soured every thrill. How Alex's steady presence had been his unintended North Star. "You were safe," Jamie said, voice carrying over the rush. "Even when I hated you for trying too hard after Mom died." Alex nodded, skipping a flatter stone that danced 5 times before sinking. "I was fumbling blind. Thought love was enough to glue us. Didn't know it could shift like this, deeper, riskier." They lunched on sandwiches wrapped in wax paper, perched on a fallen log, feeding each other bites between kisses that tasted of mustard and maple air. Laughter bubbled up, easy now, as Alex recounted a site mishap where a newbie dropped a beam, nearly flattening the porta-potty. Guy emerged looking like he'd seen the devil, swearing off construction forever. Jamie howled, head on Alex's shoulder, the joy a balm. But his shadows lengthened. Reality intruded via a buzzing phone, a voicemail from Sarah, Elena's sister, voice tight with concern. Victor called. Said things. Unnatural. "We need to talk." The drive home was a gauntlet of silence broken by radio static and the occasional grip of hands across the gearshift. Upstate New York's hills rolled by, skeletal trees clawing at gunmetal skies, mirroring the storm in Alex's gut. He glanced at Jamie, profile sharp against the window, sketching idly on a napkin a rough outline of two figures back to back, shields against arrows. "We'll face it together," Alex said, but the words fell hollow against the rearview mirror's reflection of pursuit. Their house greeted them with deceptive warmth, porch light flickering like a hesitant welcome. Inside, the air was stale, dust motes dancing in the hall as if time had paused in their absence. Jamie unpacked sketches, pinning one to the fridge, a heart cracked but mended with gold veins. Kintsugi in ink. Alex started dinner, chopping onions that stung like accusations, the knife's rhythm a metronome to his resolve. Sarah arrived at dusk, bundled in a parka, her face a map of worry lines deeper than Alex remembered. Elena's younger sister by 5 years. She'd always been the mediator, but tonight her eyes darted between them, searching for fractures. They sat in the living room, fire crackling in the grate, mugs of tea steaming untouched. "Victor's spinning tales," she began, voice soft but edged. "Says you're involved with Jamie. That it's why Elena's spirit can't rest." Jamie tensed beside Alex on the couch, his knee pressing firm against Alex's thigh, a silent alliance. Alex leaned forward, elbows on knees, meeting her gaze square. It's true. The admission landed like a felled tree, splintering the quiet. Sarah's mug clattered, tea sloshing. Jamie's hand found Alex's under the Afghan, fingers interlacing like lifelines. "We didn't plan it," Jamie added, voice steady despite the tremor. "It grew from loss, from needing each other. Mom would want us happy whole." Sarah's tears came swift, not condemnation, but grief's echo. "She loved you both fiercely. Saw the way you looked at him, Alex, like he was the son she dreamed of giving you." She paused, wiping her cheeks. "Victor's hurt, projecting his own demons. But family, it's messy. I'll talk him down. But you too, be careful. The world's not kind to stories like yours." She left with a hug for each, lingering longest on Jamie, whispering, "You're brave, kid." Like her, the door clicked shut, leaving them in the fire's glow, exhaustion mingling with relief. Alex pulled Jamie close, their foreheads touching. "One down," he murmured, lips brushing Jamie's. The kiss deepened, a slow burn that ignited into passion on the rug. Clothes shed like old skins, bodies arching in the hearth's warmth, a reclamation of their space. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting the yard in crimson and gold, mirroring the passion that colored their days. Alex's crew noticed his lighter step, ribbing him about that spring in your strut, oblivious to the truth. Jamie's exhibit prep consumed nights. Canvas stretched taut as their nerves. But Alex's encouragement, late suppers of takeout Thai, shoulders rubbed during caffeine crashes, fueled the fire. One evening, as Jamie daubed cerulean on a canvas of intertwined roots, Alex watched from the doorway, beer in hand. "Beautiful," he said, "not just to the art." Jamie turned, paint smeared and glowing. "Come here." Alex crossed the studio, hands framing Jamie's waist, pulling him flush. Their lovemaking amid drop cloths and turpentine was frantic, inspired. Jamie's cries muffled against Alex's shoulder as release crashed like waves on unseen shores. Afterward, spent and sticky, Jamie traced Alex's collarbone. "This it's my muse. Can't hide it anymore." The show night arrived under a canopy of stars. The Albany Gallery humming with voices and clinking glasses. Jamie's pieces dominated the space. Redefined Bonds, the series titled, each evoking fusion, stepped silhouettes merging into one, colors bleeding from paternal blues to romantic reds. Alex arrived early, suit ill-fitting but earnest, tie knotted crooked until Jamie fixed it with a grin. "You clean up nice, old man," as guests milled. Whispers followed. Victor's poison had trickled, but so had curiosity. A critic paused at the central piece, a massive diptych of doorways ajar, light spilling intimate. "Raw. Personal," she noted to Jamie. Then Alex stepped up, arms slipping around Jamie's waist in full view, murmuring praise. Heads turned, murmurs rose, but Jamie leaned in, sealing it with a kiss, soft, defiant, world-altering. Flashbulbs popped. Social media ignited overnight. Redefined family trending locally. Supporters flooding Jamie's inbox with stories of their own hidden loves. Backlash came too. Anonymous calls to Alex's site. A brick through the gallery window etched with slurs, but solidarity swelled. Alex's foreman toasting at the next crew lunch. "To loves that build, not break." Sarah sent flowers. A note, "Proud of you both." Elena is too. Winter crept in, blanketing their world in hush. They shoveled the drive side by side, breaths clouding in tandem. Jamie's laughter echoing as snowballs flew. Holiday lights twinkled on the porch, a beacon against the cold. One night, as flurries danced outside, Alex strung garland, Jamie humming carols off-key. "Traditions change," Alex said, nailing a wreath. "But this us, it's the new one." Jamie pulled him down for a kiss amid tinsel, sweet and spiced with eggnog breath. Their night unfolded in the glow of tree lights. Slow dances to vinyl jazz. Bodies swaying in a bed where touches lingered like promises. As snow piled silent, they whispered futures, a joint trip to Provincetown, adoptions beyond the dog, a life unapologetic. But fate tested again when Alex's back seized on an icy sight, dropping him to knees in gravel. Hospital lights harsh. Jamie paced ER halls, hand in Alex's as scans word. "Not leaving you," Jamie vowed, echoing Alex's steadfastness. Recovery was grueling, physical therapy in their living room. Jamie's sketches turning to motivational murals, but it bound them tighter. Alex's vulnerability a gift. Jamie's care a vow. Spring thawed the ground, blooming hope. Jamie graduated, cap tossed high, Alex cheering loudest. At the ceremony, amid proud families, their hands linked openly, rings glinting, simple bands bought on impulse. A prequel to Forever. Summer sun baked the earth, turning their yard into a patchwork of green defiance against the heat wave gripping upstate New York. Alex, sweat sheened in his tank and cargo shorts, wrestled the mower across uneven lawn. The engine's growl drowning out the hum of doubt that it quieted but never fully silenced. Jamie lounged on the steps, laptop balanced on knees, freelancing logos for a queer nonprofit. His smile's brighter now, laced with the ease of a man who'd stared down storms and emerged scarred but shining. Their routine had settled into a rhythm both comforting and charged. Mornings of coffee and crosswords. Where Alex's gruff clues met Jamie's clever twists. Afternoon split, Alex at sites framing futures. Jamie in his studio birthing visions. Evenings merging in the kitchen, where pasta sauce simmered as stories spilled. Hands wandering when words weren't enough. Chance. Their mutt, sprawled at their feet. Tail thumping approval. Oblivious to the world's side eyes, but attuned to their harmony. Yet ripples persisted. A letter arrived from Victor's lawyer. Veiled threats of contesting Elena's will over moral turpitude, dredging up clauses Alex had skimmed in grief. He crumpled it by the mailbox. Knuckles white. But Jamie found him there. Shoulders slumped against the post. "Burn it," Jamie said, flint in his lighter sparking like rebellion. They did. In the fire pit. Flames devouring paper as they devoured each other on the grass. Urgent and unyielding. Ash smudging skin like war paint. Emboldened, they hosted a cookout, deliberate outreach to wavering friends. Burgers sizzled on the grill, Alex flipping with tongs, while Jamie manned the playlist. Indie folk crooning of outcasts finding home. Neighbors trickled in, the Wilsons with their pie. Old Hardrove nursing a soda. Eyes less sharp now. Conversations skirted edges. Praise for Jamie's exhibit. Queries on Alex's latest build, but when a tipsy guest slurred. "Heard you two are." Close, the air thickened. Alex set down his spatula, meeting stairs level. Closer than blood. Love doesn't follow maps. Jamie squeezed his hand atop the picnic table. And Hargrove, surprisingly, chuckled. About time someone said it plain. Elena always figured you for the real deal. Laughter followed. Tentative, then genuine. Beers clinking in a toast to uncomfortable truths. By dusk, as kids chased fireflies, a quiet acceptance settled. The first brick in a wider wall of support. Jamie's career ignited then. Commissions pouring in, murals for community centers depicting blended families in vibrant strokes. TEDx invites to speak on grief as catalyst for authenticity. Alex beamed from audiences, chest swelling with a pride fiercer than any paternal instinct. Their post-event drives home alive with debriefs that dissolved into roadside makeouts. Windows steaming under harvest moons. But autumn brought shadows. Alex's ex-wife, Laura, mother to his biological daughter. Mia, now 16, emailed after hearing whispers. "Protecting Mia means distance," she wrote. Curt and cutting. Alex's reply was measured. But inside, it carved deep, the fear of losing connection to the girl he'd raised till the split. Jamie sensed it, curling against him that night, lips trailing comfort along his spine. "You're her dad. Always. Blood or not. That's unbreakable." They visited Mia in Syracuse, the college town crisp with fallen leaves. Laura's house loomed wary, but Mia bounded out, hugging Alex fierce, her braces glinting in a grin. Heard the rumors. "Dad. Kinda badass. Over pizza." She grilled Jamie, not with judgment, but curiosity. "So, you guys. For real?" Jamie nodded, voice light but true. Real as it gets. Mia's eyes sparkled mischief. "Mom's freaking, but screw that." "You're happy, I see it." Laura hovered silent. Bye-bye goodbye. Her handshake lingered, a crack in the ice. Winter holidays tested new. Victor's absence a ghost at the table. They invited Sarah and Mia. The feast, a mosaic of traditions. Elena's lax beside Alex's venison chili. Jamie's spiked cider warming throats. Laughter rang as Mia and Jamie bonded over art apps. Sarah sharing stories of Elena's wild youth, dancing in dive bars, loving fiercely without apology. Under the tree, Alex gifted Jamie a leather-bound sketchbook, embossed with our story, while Jamie slipped Alex a custom tool belt, pockets monogrammed with intertwined initials. New Year's dawned with champagne toasts and resolutions whispered in bed. More travels. Deeper commitments. They rang in the ear, making love as fireworks cracked outside. Bodies a symphony of gasps and grips. The clock striking midnight in their veins. Spring unfurled gentle. Dogwoods blushing pink along their street. Alex proposed formally then, on a blanket by the Hudson. Ring simple platinum. Engraved, redefined. Jamie's yes was tear-choked, their kiss sealing amid picnickers who cheered oblivious or approving. Wedding plans sketched loose, small, in the backyard, officiated by Sarah, with Chance as ring bearer. But Joy's underbelly stirred when Jamie's health faltered, exhaustion from deadlines morphing to dizzy spells. Tests revealing anemia from stress's toll. Alex hovered through infusions. Broth spoon bedside. His fear a quiet roar. Can't lose you, he confessed one dawn. Jamie pale, but smiling. You won't. We're in this sickness. Health. All of it. Recovery bloomed with summer. Jamie's energy returning in waves. They honeymooned locally. A road trip to Niagara. Misty falls mirroring their cascade of emotions. Hotel nights tangled in sheets. Days hiking trails hand in hand. The roar of water drowning doubts. Back home. Life layered richer. Joint bank accounts. Jamie's name on the deed. Alex's tools mingling with paints. Neighbors nodded warmer. Victor's silence a grudging retreat. One evening, as dusk painted the sky lavender, they sat on the porch swing, Chance at their feet, watching stars prick the velvet. You redefine me, Alex said, voice low, hand tracing Jamie's knuckles. Jamie leaned in, lips brushing ear. Us. Forever starts here, their love. Once a spark in vulnerability, now a steady blaze, illuminating paths for others, proving family forged in fire endures. The wedding day arrived under a sky of unyielding blue. The backyard transformed into a haven of white tents and wildflower garlands. Upstate air humming with bees and anticipation. Alex stood at the arch, suit tailored sharp but heart pounding loose. Fiddling with his cufflinks as guests filtered in, Sarah beaming misty-eyed. Mia snapping candid shots on her phone. Alex's crew in ill-fitting polos. Jamie's art circle in vibrant scarves. No Victor, but his shadow loomed faint, eclipsed by the collective warmth. Jamie appeared at the aisle's end. Simple linen shirt and slacks hugging his frame. Hair tousled just so. Eyes locking on Alex with a promise that stole breath. Vows exchanged were raw poetry. Alex's gravelly, I choose you. Every dawn, scars and all, met by Jamie's you taught me home is a verb, we build it. Daily, rings slid on, kisses sealed with cheers. Chance bounding through legs with a bow-tied pillow trailing. The reception flowed like aged whiskey, toasts from Hargrove to bridges over troubled waters. Dances under string lights where Alex twirled Jamie clumsy but earnest. Bodies close in the throng. Whispers of envy mingled with blessings. the night capping in fireworks that burst like their shared climaxes. Guests departing with hugs and leftovers in tow. Honeymoon echoes lingered into fall. Their home now a nest of framed art and shared shelves. Jamie's mural commissions expanded to city walls. Depictions of diverse loves climbing brick facades. While Alex's firm bid on a queer youth center build. Blueprints sketched with Jamie's input, spaces for stories like theirs. Yet normalcy's facade cracked when Mia called. Voice fractured. Mom found out about the wedding. She's cutting contact, says it's toxic. Alex's drive to Syracuse was a blur of wipers against sudden rain. Jamie beside him silent. Hand steady on his thigh. Laura met them at the door, arms crossed. But Mia slipped out, hugging tight. Don't let her win. Dad, inside. Words warred. Laura's accusations of corruption. Alex's pleas for understanding. Jamie's quiet, love isn't theft, it's expansion. Mia's tears broke the dam. Laura crumbling into sobs. I see it now, your light. Just. Scared for her. By evening, tentative bridges rebuilt, monthly visits promised. Mia's room always open. Winter wrapped them cozy. Holidays amplified with Mia's enthusiasm, decorating cookies shaped like power tools. Jamie's ugly sweaters clashing gloriously. New Year's brought a ritual, writing fears on paper, burning them in the yard. Ashes swirled skyward as they made love on the frozen deck. Blankets heaped, stars witnesses. Spring birth change. Jamie's book deal for Redefined, Art of Blended Hearts, illustrations paired with essays on their journey. Alex proofread drafts, pride swelling at passages capturing his awkward grace. Launch night in Manhattan buzzed electric. Signings with hugs from strangers who'd lived parallel silences. Summer heat peaked with a crisis at Alex's site. A beam collapsed, trapping 2 workers. Sirens wailing as he dug frantic with bare hands. Jamie arrived amid chaos, pulling him from rubble. Their embrace dust-caked and desperate. Alive, that's all, Jamie whispered, as medics triaged. The men survived, bonds forged in crisis. Alex's heroism earning quiet nods from skeptics. Fall harvest yielded reflection, a trip to Elena's grave. Wildflowers laid, Jamie reading a poem he'd written, odes to maternal strength echoing in their union. She knew, Alex said, arm around Jamie. Her love paved this. As leaves turned, they fostered a teen. Riley, a wiry 16-year-old with wary eyes and a sketchpad habit, kicked out for being gay. Nights filled with board games and bedtime stories. Riley's walls crumbling under their example. Family's not perfect, Alex told him one dusk. Grilling burgers. But it's chosen. Jamie's exhibit toured. Redefined installations in galleries coast to coast, sparking dialogues on screen. Backlash flared, an online troll storm, but supporters drowned it. Petitions for inclusive policies gaining traction. Winter's hush brought Riley's adoption papers, signed with tears. The ceremony small. Cake homemade. Chance licking frosting from tiny fingers. No. Riley's now. Family complete. Spring renewal. Alex retired early from sites. Partnering with Jamie on design builds for community spaces. Their home expanded, a studio edition. Walls alive with murals. Summer solstice. They renewed vows on the Hudson's bank. Barefoot in the grass. Rings reaffirmed. Night fell with a party. Lanterns floating like prayers. As stars wheeled, Alex pulled Jamie close. forever's just beginning. Their tapestry, woven from threads of pain and passion, draped a legacy, proof that love redefines, redeems, endures. Years layered like sedimentary rock, each stratum a testament to resilience. Their love, the core running deep and unyielding. Now in their 50s and 30s, Alex's hair fully silvered, lines around his eyes mapping joys more than sorrows, while Jamie's features sharpened with purpose, his art a beacon for generations. Upstate life had mellowed into a rhythm of mentorships and milestones. Riley, now 24, thriving as a tattoo artist in Brooklyn, inking stories of queer kin on willing skin. Mia, a sophomore studying social work, interning at shelters with fire in her advocacy. Their home stood as sanctuary, porch swing creaking under dual weights, garden bursting with Elena's heirloom tomatoes and Jamie's experimental herbs. Mornings began with coffee on the deck, Alex's hand tracing Jamie's knuckles, a habit etched deeper than rings. "Still can't believe you said yes," Alex murmured one dawn, steam curling from mugs as fog lifted from the fields. Jamie chuckled, leaning in for a kiss that lingered, tasting of cream and constancy. "You, sweaty in the garage? Irresistible." Their laughter wove through breakfast. Chance's successor, a goofy lab mix named Echo, barking for scraps. Days diverged yet converged, Alex consulting on eco-builds. Blueprints green with sustainability, Jamie lecturing at colleges. Slides of their story inspiring panels on family fluidity. Autumn's palette painted their 20th anniversary, marked not by fanfare, but a road trip tracing Elena's roots. From her childhood farm to the city bar where she'd met Alex. In a roadside diner, over pie a la mode, they swapped tales, the walk-in that ignited. Victor's defeat in court will upheld, his claims crumbling under scrutiny. Riley's wedding to his partner under their arch. Winter brought a blizzard, stranding them indoors, power flickering as they huddled by candlelight. Board games devolved to strip poker, laughter echoing as clothes piled, bodies rediscovering familiar terrains with a wonder of first times. "Aging suits you," Jamie teased, fingers mapping Alex's chest, silver hairs like constellations. Alex growled playful, rolling them closer. Says the man who turns heads at every opening. Their lovemaking was unhurried, a symphony of sighs and strokes. Climax a quiet thunder that left them entwined, breaths sinking in the afterglow. Spring unearthed a letter from Victor, aged, ailing, words scrawled shaky, regrets weigh heavy. Forgive an old fool, they visited his hospice. Room sterile, but eyes softening at their clasped hands. "You were right," he rasped. Jamie's forgiveness a balm sharper than scorn. Love wins. He passed weeks later. Peace in his parting. A final redefinition. Summer's heat wave mirrored inner fires as Riley announced fatherhood via surrogate, asking them to be grandpas in waiting. Nursery planning became obsession. Alex crafting cribs from reclaimed wood. Jamie painting murals of adventurous beasts. The birth a boy, cradled first in their arms, swelled hearts to bursting. Tiny fingers gripping as if knowing the legacy of chosen kin. Fall foliage framed a family retreat to the cabin. Now theirs, where it all deepened. Around the fire, stories circled. Mia's engagement to a non-binary artist. Sarah's retirement tales. Riley's ink empire. Toasts raised to Elena, her spirit in every bond. Winter holidays amplified. House aglow with lights and laughter. The baby cooing amid wrapping paper chaos. New Year's dawned with a vow renewal. Intimate under mistletoe. Promises whispered fierce. As decades turned, their influence rippled. Books translated. Foundations funded for LGBTQ plus youth homes. Alex and Jamie keynotes at Pride events. Hands linked on stages worldwide. Back home, quiet evenings prevailed, walks with echo, dinners by candlelight, nights where touches spoke volumes. One evening, as twilight bruised the sky, Alex knelt again, not with ring, but resolve. You've been my horizon, Jamie. Every step. Worth it. Jamie pulled him up. Kiss eternal. And you're my compass. North. Always. In a hush of years. Their story endured, not flawless, but human. A testament that from a door ajar.
You can't just walk away from
Worlds
this, not
realign.
again.
Families redefined.
I don't know what you want me to do. I just can't
eternal.
stay here.
Prevails.